On my mind, gotta hustle and grind. Financial literacy always on my mind. I'm stacking knowledge, no time to waste. Gotta invest smart, gotta keep up the pace. I'm reading books, learning all the tricks, studying the market, making calculated picks.
What's good, everybody? It's your boy Reckless Rated Narrow, and we are back at it again, back on schedule with Operation Debt Crusher. Obviously, we missed an upload, and that's 100% my fault. There's no excuses, but actually, no, but it's just what it is. So I missed an upload for Operation Debt Crusher for last month. So this recap is going to encapsulate 2 months of data changes, which actually, looking at it from that perspective, makes it look a little less bad. It's still not the greatest, but as I stated, we were making some adjustments, and we'll go over those adjustments for those of you who are just tapping in for the Debt Crusher episode. I know a lot of people don't like to talk about debt, but I think it's pretty interesting looking at the way that I'm eliminating my debt personally. The little bit that I have, I do believe everything scales, and this channel is very much a what I'm doing, not what I did. So we're seeing it actively with actual numbers that are mine and my situation and how that's playing out. So we're going to jump right into it. If you guys are just tapping in, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, do all the things to help get me out in the algorithm. Let them know that there's a dude out there who makes under 100K a year that's paying off a pretty decent amount of debt. I mean, we started off at $35,000, which is a pretty hefty amount. Had some surprise medical bills jump in there and just tracking the life as we get this consumer debt wrangled in. So we're going to go ahead and jump right on into it and get this knocked out. These episodes generally aren't that long. There's not that much to talk about. Couple of things. So the skinny of it is we are, and this is rounding up because I always round up to make it look worse than what it actually is, but this is about worse than what it actually is within $80. So we went $1,920 in the wrong direction. $2,000 was basically $1,000 a month. That is chalked up to budgetary errors. Anyone who watches the show knows I don't even do a budget. So that's how you get that. It's just what it is. Main reason being is instead of going the route that I originally was planning on, which was I was going to dump everything into just paying off the debt, I started thinking about the opportunity cost of that decision. And people would be like, oh, well, you know, you're paying 20 to 27% debt. And that is correct. That is correct. The reality of it is, though, my CAGR on my investments are 50%. Like if I just buy Bitcoin, that's 50%. So I'm still coming out ahead. Also, increasing my income increases the speed at which I can pay the debt off. Also, an opportunity. Little bit more high risk, and not as what I would say safe as the Bitcoin play. But I opted for going fully invested, and since we are in the high yield space, that's currently what we're working with. That produces an income that can also feed my long-term portfolio and purchase Bitcoin as we hit certain metrics with that income. I opted to go that route. So we pilot tested it over the month of December, over 80% of my income from my W-2 job. And this is really focused around my W-2 job, is focused on hitting the portfolio first, which means I am not paying my credit card bills first. I'm not paying my debts first. I am flipping it on its head. I am literally paying myself everything first, and then I am navigating with what's left out of my portfolio. Now, I do have margin, a decent amount of margin. It's not what it used to be because of adjustments that we made in the portfolio, but we are adjusting to get back in the realm of me having a little deeper margin pool. But right now I've got about $6,000 that I have access to, which gives me about $3,000 to have access to at any one given time. With the way that things are sorting themselves out from the pilot test, that puts us at sitting at about $2,000 of used margin. Now I could push a little bit harder, but I am choosing not to because I don't want to be over 50% margin. People will be like, oh, well, you got to pay interest on the margin. Well, I'm pretty sure, and I haven't called to have this conversation. It's on my list of things to do within the month, is to call, find out, what my current margin interest rate is, which it's probably around 13%, which is a far cry from the 20 to 27% that I am paying on credit cards. That's the first thing. The second thing is it's not just a constant stagnant amount of money like a credit card, because I have my dividends and stuff. I don't have to worry about paying my margin back. It's automatically paid. When I get checks, it's automatically paid off. So the time frame that the margin is actually being held, I'm not getting interest charges that are the same as what I get on a credit card. It's like $1 because I'm only having the margin for a week or two. Because generally speaking, if I only have $2,000 in margin, by the time my W-2 paycheck hits, it clears the margin. Then I reopen new margin that day. So I'm not paying interest consistently for months on end where you're just sitting and riding a credit card balance paying the bare minimum. My margin account zeroes out weekly, if at minimum bi-weekly. Chunks of it are coming out at all times. So it's not just a stagnant like, oh, this is just $2,000 and then the interest hits and it's like $2,500 and it just stacks up the way a credit card does, because there's constantly money coming into the account. I'm getting paid in that account. It's the primary income account. We're at about, I think, $800 a week in that account. So as it sits right now, just for reference, we had it at about $2,000. I got paid on Friday. When payday hit, I got $1,400 back in there, which cleared out what was left of the margin. Then I reinvested the money. I had my monthly expenses come out of it. My minimum payments came out of it for all my credit cards to manage those accounts. Basically everything except for my utilities are coming out of that pool now of money. And the credit card my W-2 payment came in, cleared out all the margin. So I was up like $200 basically. Now, after I did my monthly buys, because I have monthly buys for a couple of shares of things every month that I am on a schedule to purchase, and then investing the W-2 money that was deposited, which dipped me back into the margin again, it put me at about, I'd say, we're going to round up, $1,500. So now I have $1,500. Now, next week, I should be getting about $800 or more dollars going against the $1,400. Now there might be about a 10% stipend if we break $800 that'll go into the long-term holding portfolio. But outside of that, everything else is kind of set and dried. It is what it is. And, that'll bring that balance down to probably about, I'd say, minus 14. Jesus, I am having a brain fart. This is what happens when you record late at night, so I have to use my calculator. It'll be $600. So then when margin hits the following week, it'll pay that off, and then we'll re-hit the flywheel, which is $1,300, except for we're coming straight out of the margin pool, and we'll deploy that money, and that will be used to pay. We'll be pulling out basically whatever we need to pay off the monthly loan for the SoFi loan to get the balance. So we'll get that, and then a couple of credit cards, because most of the minimums are paid already, and then whatever's left over will go towards the Citibank payoff, and we'll keep it moving. But since we went fully invested the second month, for December, we obviously went in the wrong direction because we were trying to figure out how we were going to use the margin. That was a learning curve on my part, because I'm doing new stuff. I'm trying things. So that's the reason we kind of do a pilot test, and then Q1 of 2026 is the full test. But the benefits of the pilot outweighed the learning curve and the $1,000, in my opinion. So, and it's my money, so obviously I'm gonna either win or lose by my own sword at this point. So that's just what it is. Let's go ahead and do this breakdown. We'll start off with the Robinhood credit card. We have $3,584.95. This was a previous daily driver. And then I lost my card, and I still have to get a new card. And so we just kind of froze that in place. We're going to pay this off as soon as we get this either rolled out of here or paid off. We will get that knocked out. Another rule that I have implemented now that I'm fully invested in living out of my brokerage account is whatever card I'm using for a daily driver. When that minimum payment comes around, we have the minimum payment that we're going to owe, and then we also pay off 50%. Like basically whenever we pull money, I am paying 50% off of the daily driver. Whenever we hit the flywheel, whatever we're doing, we throw that in with the flywheel and we just pull the money off to pay off 50% of whatever the balance is. So that we don't end up rolling this up, because what happens is the daily driver ends up catching money that I'll just leave sitting on there because I'm focused on paying off another card, and it's kind of like whack-a-mole, but I buy less stuff. So like in this situation, I'm like kind of at the bare minimum buying things as they're needed, but what's needed, we'll go ahead and get it. The issue being that when we were doing the daily driver, when I first got the Robinhood card, I do love that card, by the way. It is a wonderful daily driver for me just because I don't have to play the points game. It's just 3% flat, and I can just use it for everything, which is pretty awesome. The issue was I was living out of my paycheck. And with the paycheck, you got to pay everything, and then what's left, and it's kind of like I'll skimp on paying back the daily driver, and I will break my rule set of doing the 50% on the daily driver card to pay other things or invest. Now that I'm just fully out of my brokerage account, the money is just the money. Like it's just a pit of money. As long as I'm not over $3,000 in there, I don't care. And since it's constantly being chunked back down, there's also that. So like I'm forced to just invest. I'm investing first. So like, and then every week I'm getting a little bit more income added to knocking down the margin. So the new rule set that we have implemented is to keep this from happening again. Cause like, obviously you don't want to, I mean, it's not as bad when it's like, okay, so it's 3,500, but we paid like 10,000 on this other thing, and we also got a couple of $1,000 extra in the market. It washes out, but like I want my consumer debt relegated down to one card, and all the cards are paid off every month because there's like one thing to keep the account active on each card. That's my goal. The reason this sprawled out the way that it did was because, for those who are just tuning in here in 2026, in 2024, I had a grievous injury. I had a surgery to remedy that injury. I severed my Achilles, and I had to get it stitched back together, and they had to cut me open. All not fun things. Very traumatic, very much expensive, and it was the first year that I was testing out being on the high deductible plan. And you know, it was the stair step to me realizing that like I'm probably not long for having traditional insurance. I'll get a concierge service at this point because I might as well have just paid for it, honestly. But it added an extra $8,000. The other thing with my debt is most of it is asset-backed debt, and as you can see, we're sitting at 28,000. For a total for the debt, we're at $28,067.03. The portfolio that's paying for this is $40,000. So the spinoff here is, if absolutely needed to, I could nuke a portfolio and still have almost half of said portfolio left and pay everything off and just have it gone. we're not doing that because I'm living out of that brokerage account. The opportunity cost on the income coming in just isn't worth it for me. Also, since I'm recording doing this in a non-traditional fashion, it's good for people to be able to see like, hey, this dude was doing this, making X amount, built out his portfolio, and is paying back the debt instead of just liquidating all of your assets to pay back debt. 'Cause I don't believe in that. A different way to go about it. So with the Robinhood credit card, that's where we're at. We're at $3,584.95. That account is currently frozen and the card is lost, so it's not usable. So there's not actually any more money going onto that card specifically. Next, we have the Capital One Venture, which is actually our interim daily driver. We're sitting at $821.21. That is again, every time we hit that flywheel or do a mass pull out to pay for anything at this point, which actually is the flywheel date, which is the off day from our paycheck day, generally speaking, we pull 50% to pay off the daily driver that we currently have. So at this rate, there'll be about an additional $500. So we'll be pulling $1,800 out. And yeah, that'll be that. Our Capital One Quicksilver, we just had this card replaced. We're sitting at $1,131.62. This was the backup daily driver when we started doing the experiment. Fun fact, also lost that credit card. The end of the year was really wild for me. I lost 2 credit cards, which is crazy. It's just, I don't know. Brain flubs. I had 2 of them. I hadn't lost a card in ages. And then in 1 month, I lost 2 credit cards. So this ended up with this on it. It will be getting paid off expeditiously as well. Obviously, we're focusing down the city, but like I am taking little chunks of money here and there to throw over at this as we're pulling money out. Which this card is gone, and we went ahead and reported that one lost and had the replacement sent out. So that card, the original card that was on here, is no longer usable, and so that's not going anywhere either but down. Citibank, we are sitting at $3,867.97. That is the card that we are currently prioritizing. The trial and error of getting to this point, obviously we're starting to pay a little bit of interest. So this is no longer at 0%. This is high priority. This is what we're paying off. That's why we have it over there like that. And then let me go ahead and put in here the truth of the matter, which is, let's make this bold. Why are you not? Let's see here, command bold. Priority pay down. Update that. This is the priority pay down. We're working on it. As soon as this is done, we're ready to redeploy off this account. We'll be rolling into this account. So this month, we're looking at doing all sorts of creative extra stuff to get this paid down. Next, we have our Discover, which is currently the interest turns back on this for this month. So this is going to be the next priority, actually. Because it's January 2026. Debt load is at 0% until January 2026. We've been making some headway on this, though. Like, we've been chunking at this as well. Are both of these going to get done within the month? No, absolutely not. I mean, we're taking interest hits on the Citibank as well. People will be like, oh, you're crazy, you're eating that interest. And you're like, yeah, but I got a 50% CAGR on my investments, and I'm driving the income up while I'm paying this down. And honestly, if I was paying it out on my W-2, there'd be no way this would get paid down as fast. So it is what it is. Obviously, clearing these cards, it sucks because I've clogged up both of my balance rollover cards, more or less. My Chase slate, I'm going to have to see if I have any offers on that, because that one I've been really good at, if I roll something to it, paying it off quickly. So we're going to have to take a look at that as well, just to see what options we have. One of the things I do every year is, and I constantly urge people to do that are in the credit game is make sure to update your numbers. So I updated my annual salary based on my distributions from this year, factored in with my W-2 salary. So I updated my incomes, adjust your rent to make sure it's accurate. I didn't know that mattered, but the credit card companies that do factor in your rent/mortgage payment, if you have a roommate and you're not paying the full mortgage, only put in the amount that you're paying that you actually have to pay out of your share. So like if you're going 50-50 with somebody and you have 50% of your mortgage payment paid, do not reference your full mortgage in that box. Put the part of it that you actually pay, because it can help as far as how much credit they're willing to give you. And obviously you want to constantly be optimized for that. So I recently did that. So we'll see if I get some more offers from Chase. I go through all my credit card companies and make sure to update that every year moving forward. I will check those numbers and reference it. Normally it's just going to be updating the income, but sometimes, depending on your living situation, the amount that you actually pay on your rent and or mortgage, depending on what that situation looks like, it could change. So you want to make sure to keep your numbers accurate. Next, we've got our Discover. We're at $5,790.20. This is going to likely be, it depends. If I'm actively working, whatever card I'm actively working on when this gets cleared, if it's going to be this, then I will just pay this off and I'll roll something else. Because this is one of the ones that sends me blank checks. So I will want to have this open to be able to roll as well. My Chase slate, I've got $93.14 on there, and we're just going to pay that off, obviously. And once we get that knocked down, we're going to look to see if we have some opportunities to do some balance transfers. And if we do, we're going to go ahead and start jumping on that and using those things. I used to be very hesitant about using balance transfers. Now I love them, in the sense that for right now, it helps me consolidate on those interest payments. So if I can roll something and not be paying interest on it, I can, focus on other things and then like set out the payment plan for that specific position to just pay it off to zero, which is what we're doing now. Like as we move forward, whatever amount of time I give myself on these for these rolls, we will be segmenting that out to where it's like, hey, like what's this look like getting paid off in 10 payments? And then that's going to be the minimum payment. Or what'll it take for us to be at zero by the time we hit interest? And that's the way we're doing our balance transfers moving forward, the goal and the intent, most likely. But Chase Slate is another card that I have that is really good for balance transfers. And again, for those of you who don't know, this is through trial and error because I did not strategically get any of these credit cards except for the Chase Slate, the Chase Sapphire, and the Robinhood. Those were all strategic cards. And honestly, I could probably, do without the Sapphire at this point because I have to pay a annual fee. There's a fee to have that card. And yeah, I mean, I'll probably put it back in play for gas now that I'm actually buying gas. I'll probably keep it for that or something. But, I prefer to just have everything on one card, and the Robinhood credit card is my go-to daily driver just because it's easy. It's real easy. But the Chase Slate, my Discover, and my Citibank, all great for balance transfer. They give you balance transfer offers. So you just roll off of other cards into this card. So that way you don't have to pay interest, and you segment your payments up to where if you have to pay interest, you can not pay interest. You pay it off before you get to the interest period. Obviously, I prefer the Discover and the Citibank, at least in my experience, because they send you blank checks, which makes it easy to get cash into a bank account so that you can buy assets. That's kind of what I try to do with my credit cards at this point. I do believe in credit because if you're using it to purchase assets, then it is wonderful. Having a bunch of consumer credit, like I don't have a bunch of stuff. I don't have the game boxes, the PS5s. I do have a PlayStation Series X that I bought for cash that I turned on for 1 week and then never turned it on again because I don't really have time to play games. So it depends on what the debt is utilized for. Like I will run into debt to buy more assets, which is how a lot of these balances ended up running up. Aside that and medical were two of the things. And now that we're in a space to where this no longer serves, it'll be 100%. If I'm running a balance on a credit card, it'll be 100% because I took a cash advance to buy XYZ asset, not to go on vacation, not to get rims, not to get car parts. Now I do filter in car parts and clothing. Like, I mean, I have schedules on at this point to where it's a semblance of a budget. Like I'll allot myself X amount a month. And that generally is what I do to go towards cars. Clothing, I'm not that big of a fan of. I'm not a clothing person. I like to have a few outfits, but I'm not a fashionista, not a clothing guy. I get things that I like that are expressive, that represent my personality, but I only need like a few things. So, but keeping stuff evergreen and being able to be in a position to get rid of clothing, which is another thing that I'm bad at, which is why I don't like to buy clothing. I'm just like, I want to keep this forever and never update it because then that's more decisions to be made. But like with car parts, I like tinkering with my car, like making my car go a little bit faster. That's something that I'm heavily into. I enjoyed nights out, stuff like that, going out with my friends every once in a while. Equipment, camera, studio equipment, phone upgrade, which I'm due for, which I only do that once every 2 years now. I've really gotten off of buying a new phone every year. And I'm out to like about 2 years. And once I'm able to build that into what that looks like with my monthly phone bill and making it a part of that, because I know a lot of you finance your phones and like that's why your phone bill is like $200 a month. I don't do that either. I pay cash for them. So a lot of the stuff I do, I'll save up the cash, but I just don't. The reason I will always stay in debtor for different reasons is because I'm going to constantly grow my asset base. It just is what it is. Like that's the play that we've been on for this past few years, and it's worked swimmingly. The market can go down, and obviously your network takes a hit, which means that year over year, you take those individual snapshots. It could look bad. Whatever, that's fine. I'm not worried about it this year. I'm not spending all my money this year, which is this year's net worth starting in this month, as you guys saw, was down $13,897.46 from this time last year. Fortunately, I don't have to spend every dime that I have today. So it doesn't really, I mean, over the long tail, if I go back 2 years, I'm up. If I go back 3 years, I'm up. If I go back 4 years, I'm up. So like my window isn't, oh, I've got to get to this number by next year. I have targets, but if I don't hit the target and I moved a little bit forward, or I'm ahead of where I was 2, 3, 4 years ago, I'm looking 5 years down the road anyway, 5, 10 years. So overall, we're doing good, but those are the 3 cards that I've been able to roll the most stuff on. And I think Bank of America, my Bank of America card, when we get to that, is going to be another one that's going to be one of those, because I do get offers on that as well. They haven't sent me any blank checks yet, but they've given me offers. Next, we have our Chase Sapphire, which is our previous daily driver. We're sitting at $4,390.77. That's going to get rolled. Like I can say that right now. Like I just got too much stuff going, and this is going to be probably, hopefully, the last year of the rolling, because one of my targets is to actually get this consumer debt paid up. But our Chase Sapphire, we're at $4,390.77. It was a previous roller, obviously 23% interest. We are catching interest charges on that. Fortunately, we always pay a consistently higher amount, especially for the ones that we have in zero interest positions. We're always paying extra. So like this will go down a little bit every month. We'll be chipping away at it. Bank of America currently still sitting at 0% interest. We're at $8,387.17. We're still paying the initial payment that we paid on it. We paid the first minimum balance the whole time. And if you're not paying any interest on something, that makes it so that you start really whittling at this. Hopefully, as we roll into July, we have this completely or close to paid off. So that way we don't have to roll it. And then we'll be getting some additional offers off of this. But we should have, based on what I currently have available, we should either begin seeing some of these roll in. So you'll see the Chase Slate balance go up. You'll see the Citibank balance zero out and then go up an order of magnitude, and then have a good balance on there. And then we'll adjust the writing over here. Discover obviously is going to be another one that we're going to really focus on. And then it will go down and then go up because those 4 accounts are accounts that we roll into. Specifically with the Citibank, though, they'll give me cash, which if I can get those blank checks, which I have already gotten blank checks from Citi. Again, now that the interest rates are kind of rolling down, going down, cooling off, this balance is coming down. They're sending me checks. They're like, hey, use some more money. And I will, to continue to clean up the mess. But that left us at $28,067.03 for closing out the 2025 calendar year, which is still good considering we started this at $35,000. We're still moving in the right direction. It's just not as fast as we want, but also my priority is building out my income base and my asset base. Importantly, like this is a 2025 was a pivotal year. 2026 is also going to be a pivotal year. Clearing this debt is 100% a priority. I'm just not willing to give up the opportunity cost of these calendar years where it's going to be pivotal. Like it's important that I get a hold of more assets. It's important that I get a hold of more Bitcoin. So we're building the plane as we fly it, but this is where we ended up for our debt crusher for closing out the end of year 2025. We will be back again next month. I will get these back monthly. I've got a schedule for how I'm going to record all my monthlies moving forward. And yeah, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. We're going to end it on that note. Tap in with me down in the comments and let me know how crazy or how smart or what you guys are thinking, where you're at with your journey. I know not a lot of people at least give an honest conversation about debt. Either people paid off a bunch of debt and they swear they'll never use it again and it's the worst thing in the world, or they're pro debt and think everybody should be in debt and you should have debt. And if you don't have debt, you're kind of crazy. And I think if you're trying to get rich and you don't have debt, you're kind of crazy personally. Considering all your gurus utilize debt, they just tell you not to do it. But you know, it's a nuanced blue collar perspective. Like I go to work every day, lace them boots up, get out there, do what I got to do to pay these bills. But like showing that there's a non-conventional, not either or, because I'm using debt as I'm paying debt off. And I use debt to build these portfolios that are paying the debt off also. So, you know, just given an honest perspective, my perspective, from a non-guru standpoint, because I'm out here just the same as anybody else. I go to work every day. I'm not on YouTube every day. And I'm not claiming to know what I'm doing. I'm trying stuff and then documenting the results. So definitely tap in for some of the other shows. I hope you guys have been enjoying this first of 2026 week. We got a lot of updates coming to the channel. And we'll see you next month. It's your boy, Reckless Ray Dinero, and I'm out. Peace.
Money on my mind. Yeah. Focus, got no time for games, nah. I don't play, man, I'm all about that financial literacy. Investing in my future, building generational wealth. Dollar bills, they be calling my name, but I ain't chasing fame, I'm chasing change. Learn the game, now I'm playing it smart. Putting my money to work, it's an art. I'm stacking paper, building my own empire. No more living check to check, I'm getting higher. Investing in stocks, real estate, and more. Gotta secure the bag, that's what I came for.